They're saying it.
She's cute. Has she been vaccinated yet?
No, not yet, but she never gets sick.
They don't need to get vaccinated until school starts.
I think she got vaccinated at the hospital at the time when she was born.
It costs so much, and it's hard to find the right time because I work.
I thought my wife took them for his vaccinations.
I don't trust those vaccines. I heard they're dangerous.
Kids don't need shots now. Those diseases are gone.
Come back, Maria.
Pocket full of posies, ashes, we all go down.
Come on, Maria.
Many people forget the deadly diseases are still a dangerous threat to children. In the past, contagious diseases endangered every family. Polio crippled, paralyzed, and killed many people. Thousands suffered serious complications from whooping cough and from measles before a vaccine was developed in the 1960s. In spite of the dangers, many children are still not immunized, even though these diseases and others are preventable with vaccines. Babies need immunization against 9 serious diseases. Those are 9 good reasons in themselves. But you only need one reason: your child's health.
With the immunizations, the diseases are pretty much knocked out. You don't really have to worry about them as long as you get them immunized on time and you keep up with it. Because if they miss their immunizations or if they don't get them consistently, they're going to get sick. And the diseases are a lot scarier. Most of these diseases can kill a child. People think of the childhood diseases as harmless, like chicken pox or measles. Well, those are just harmless. They're not. They're frightening if you see them.
5 immunizations protect against 9 childhood diseases. MMR to protect against measles, mumps, and rubella. DTP to guard against diphtheria, tetanus, and whooping cough. An oral polio vaccine, the HIV vaccine to defend against meningitis, and hepatitis B to protect against liver infection.
Look at me.
And keep holding still for me.
Just look at Mom. Don't look.
Here we go, sweetie. Look at Mama.
Look at me.
Good girl. Are you? You can say Howie. Just don't move, honey. Don't move. Good girl. Oh, that's a good girl. Good girl.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we're done.
Yes, it can hurt a little, and youngsters can and do cry for a few minutes. If your child is old enough to understand, explain that vaccinations can prevent some very bad diseases. If your child is younger, comfort and play with your baby. Reward your child after the vaccination.
No, she's done. It is very important. The diseases are much worse than the shots. They only feel bad for a couple of days tops when they get their shots, but measles or mumps, those can last for weeks. And this isn't that long. See, he's fine now. He's ready to play.
The Milwaukee Health Department wants to see all children in Milwaukee immunized. What we don't want is a repeat of what happened a few years ago. There were thousands of measles cases yearly prior to development of a measles vaccine in the 1960s. With a heavy emphasis on immunization, the numbers fell dramatically in the 1980s. But for some reason, after nearly a decade of few reported cases, Milwaukee saw a major measles outbreak in 1989 and 90. Most of those happened to infants and children during the school year. 1 in 5 was sick enough to be hospitalized, and 3 preschoolers died. A comprehensive new program called All Kids Count grew out of that serious epidemic. Its goal is to achieve full immunization of all children in the birth to 2-year age group by the year 2000. The All Kids Count program and a renewed emphasis on immunization brought the measles cases down again. But unless the effort continues, an epidemic could happen again.
Take these little feeders out of there, and we're going to put that at the back. And he said, that's pretty good. He said, I think that tastes pretty yummy.
Much of the success of the All Kids Count immunization project depends on whether parents bring their children in for the vaccines. The demands of daily life can make this difficult, but it should be an important part of your activities.
If you love your child, get it done, unless you want to see them sick.
Success can depend on availability. So the All Kids Count program has also focused on providing expanded hours at immunization clinics and mobile vans, along with increased educational efforts, including immunization materials in English and other languages. Education remains a key, and All Kids Count has drawn on some well-known people to get parents' attention.
Hi, I'm Dan Jansen. Robin and I want to protect Jane from childhood disease. Do the same for your children. Don't wait. Vaccinate.
I'm Rosalind Carter, and I'm here in Milwaukee with Betty Bumpus to deliver an important message to parents. Many parents don't realize that childhood diseases can be prevented with timely immunizations.
Make sure your children get their baby shots on time. Keep good records. If your child needs a shot, call your doctor or clinic immediately.
Your child may be eligible for free immunizations from your health department.
So don't wait. Vaccinate. Protect your child with a preventive medicine. Life-threatening diseases exist that are just too powerful to fight without vaccines. Remember to begin your child's schedule of vaccinations at the time of birth. But if your child is older and has not followed the recommended schedule, don't give up. Contact your doctor or health department. And don't forget, it's the law. Wisconsin immunization law requires that children in licensed daycare centers and students through grade 12 be immunized against the spread of disease. Fines or other actions can be imposed for noncompliance. Finally, while immunization is extremely important, it is only one part of a child's total health care. Make sure you have a doctor or clinic where they know your child, and be sure to get regular checkups even when your child is healthy.
Mr. President?
Aye.
17 ayes.
17 ayes. The ayes have it. The 1995 budget as amended is approved by the Common Council on a unanimous vote. Chair would recognize...
While the final vote was unanimous, not everyone concurred with every item in the budget, but council members generally agree that the budget and your tax dollars deliver essential city services in an efficient and cost-effective manner. You may not know that most of the money the city needs to provide its services does not come from your property taxes. Residential and commercial property taxpayers furnish about a fourth of the city's budget. The rest comes from non-property tax dollars, such as state aids, grants, and investments. And a reminder, the property tax dollars on your combined bill are split 6 ways. Your money supports 5 local governments. Of those 5, the city of Milwaukee's share of the tax dollar is 28 cents. Less than a penny goes for a state forestry tax. The West Side home of Milwaukee residents Paul and Karen Monreal is assessed at $75,300. The city portion of the Monreal combined tax bill amounts to about $818 before tax and lottery credits. We'll break down their tax bill to give you an idea of what you're getting for your money. The largest amount of the Monreal city tax bill goes toward public safety. Overall, more money is spent on police and fire protection than will be collected in city property taxes. Public Works gets nearly a third of the city tax dollar for such things as garbage collection, snow removal, and street maintenance. Programs for housing, jobs, and other economic development, general government expenses, culture and recreation, and health round out the list of services provided from this revenue. In addition to living in Milwaukee, Paul is a city employee, And he also watches over the spending of his and your tax dollars as a member of the Central Board of Purchases. That doesn't make it any easier to pay the bill, but does give him a unique perspective on where the money goes.
Well, being involved with some of the city's meetings that they have, I can understand why some of the costs have gone up, because the services have increased in their value, and I have no complaints about the snow removal, garbage pickup, sewage, water, all things like that. I mean, you just knowing prices, everything go up, I can understand why it's going up. But it's something that you want the service, you got to pay for it.
You make the check out to the city treasurer located on the first floor of Milwaukee City Hall. You can pay in full or make your first installment on or before January 31st. You can pay in person if you feel more comfortable doing that, but paying by mail is the easiest way to do it.
If they do send it to us, they will get a receipt in the mail. I think some people come down here because they're afraid they will not get that receipt. We will send back a receipt. Also true if they have an escrow check. They mail in an escrow check. If there's excess funds over the amount of the tax due, we will mail back a refund check. And this would take place within a period of maybe 7 days.
When governments provide clean water, plow snow-covered streets, operate public libraries, and maintain infrastructure, they not only provide essential services, but also are making investments that complement and strengthen future economic growth.
The purpose behind it is primarily to teach students fire safety. And the way we accomplish that is by giving them realistic experiences and teaching assignments, and then have them practice that in our Survival Life house.
My point is that if you get burned, it's going to hurt. And worst of all, someone could die in a fire. We come across it happening pretty often, more than we'd like to hear. And that's why we hope by talking about what you should do if you find yourself in a fire, and talking about ways that you can not start fires, mainly by playing with matches, we can eliminate a lot of those, hopefully all of those fire deaths, and cut back on a lot of fires that happen around here.
Milwaukee's Fire Safety and Education Center offers its comprehensive program to as many as 20,000 kids a year, from public and private schools and community agencies. It may be a field trip, but there's also some classroom instruction, including common sense rules from Milwaukee firefighters.
You can read the newspaper in the last few weeks. I'm sure you're going to find stories of kids playing with matches. Things happen so fast, you don't know how to deal with it. You create situations that you can't deal with, so don't play with matches. If you find yourself with some matches, give them to someone older who can take care of them. Give them the little lighter you found.
The basics are then reinforced in a number of ways, ways that can't all be taught in a classroom.
Okay, put your hand up like this. Take your other hand and pinch the front. See how thick that skin is? Now flip your hand over. Pinch the back. That's thinner, it's more sensitive. That's what you feel the door with, the back of your hand. Now you want to feel from the doorknob down. Now watch carefully. Okay, feel this way, back and forth, to see if the door is hot or not. Then I want you to double check it. If the door is hot, should you open it? No. No, it means the fire's right there. Who would know a second way out? Young man.
The window.
The window. Oh, look, there's a window over here. Let's go and try this. Now, would you walk over to that window?
No.
No, you would crawl on your hands and knees, but I'll walk over so I can finish teaching the rest of this class. Now, you would scoot over and stay very, very low. Should you break the glass right away?
No.
No. You know what works real easy? If you hold your breath, because you have to go in the smoke for a bit. Hold your breath, come up, unlock the window, and then slide it up, and then come back down. Then you can breathe the fresh air that's coming through the open window. Now, to escape safely, what tool would we use, young lady? What tool would we use to escape out of the window?
The ladder.
The escape ladder. Anybody remember where you can buy that?
Then it's time for a realistic, hands-on experience in the major focus of the center, the Survive Alive house.
As soon as that goes off, I want you to roll out.
The kids are placed in a bedroom. Nighttime fire and smoke are simulated, and they put into practice the fire escape skills they learned earlier.
If the students choose to escape out of a window, for example, they would use an escape ladder, okay, of which are available at many hardware stores around our community. And they can escape, come to a meeting place, and then they'll simulate activating the 911 system, communicate with our dispatcher, explain to them their emergency, and then wait for the fire department to arrive.
Survive Alive House is a cooperative venture of Milwaukee Public Schools and the Milwaukee Fire Department. Kids in the 2nd and 5th grades are targeted to introduce fire prevention and safety at an early age, then reinforce it several years later. An average of 12 children died in Milwaukee fires in the 5 years before the Survive Alive House opened in February of 1992. Juvenile fire deaths have fallen since then, and while no one knows for sure, firefighters believe the Survive Alive House and other educational programs are having an impact.
Clearly, this project, along with another project we refer to as FOCUS, that's firefighters out creating urban safety. You might be familiar with that, with the smoke detectors that are installed in targeted neighborhoods. We've clearly made an impact in the reduction of fire fatalities.
We learned today how to get out of a fire, and fires can spread very fast.
It sure can. And what did you learn about getting away from the fire?
Well, if the door is hot, open it and see if there's fire. If there's fire, close it and then climb out the window.
Mm-hmm. Is that important, what you learned today?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because it's for your own safety. It's just like a real fire, but it's not.
Yeah. Was it kind of fun?
Yeah.
But you learned from the fun, right? And many kids take what they've learned and teach their parents and other adults a thing or two.
Children have experienced the program and have gone home and completed checklists. And I get a phone call that says, my gosh, I've got to replace this extension cord. I've got too big a wattage of light bulb in my light. I didn't know I couldn't keep gasoline in my basement with my snow thrower. And the kids, they're outstanding. They keep the parents on their toes, no question.
What's the problem here?
Firefighters believe the commitment to providing the children of Milwaukee with the highest degree of fire education skills will continue to save lives and make this a safer community. Several years ago, a task force recommended the city take an active role in supporting the city's cultural life on more of a neighborhood level. To do that, the Common Council set up the Milwaukee Arts Board.
Well, by definition, the arts is the city's symbol of its support for the arts in our community. And we think every city should have some kind of mechanism to try and let our citizens know that government is not just the police department and the lowest tax rate, but it's also a cultural celebration of our city as well. And we in the city, through the Arts Board, try to support that cultural effort as best we can.
This was a practice session of the Milwaukee Inner City Arts Council Children's Theater, one of 27 groups receiving an Arts Board grant this year. 51 had asked for a portion of the $175,000 set aside for cultural projects. Recipients must match the grant. A special emphasis is given to those with diverse racial and ethnic backgrounds.
The arts, I feel, are the most profound form of communication. So when you look at the piece that these young people are doing, young John Henry, they are conveying John Henry's capacity for transcendency. They're talking about a culture that's based on a major work ethic, a culture that is based on strong family ties, and they're able to take this message into diverse communities. It's easy for people to suffer from a hope breakdown. John Henry somehow is able to say, hey folks, we transcended before we will again. Also, what's important about this grant is that it allows master artists to work with the young people. So the product that you see is as a result of professionals working with the modeling, the work, and also teaching.
But we still have time for fun.
As you travel around the city, take note of what you see inside and outside of public buildings. The 17-member Arts Board, predominantly private citizens, also has a role in receiving gifts of art and purchasing works from Milwaukee artists. Up to 1% of the cost of public projects is required to be set aside for the acquisition of artwork. The Arts Board also administers the city's art collection, about 500 works, some occasionally displayed at City Hall. Most are in use year-round in city offices, buildings, and public facilities. The Arts Board plans to have input into the new Wisconsin Convention Center, believing there are strong economic reasons for the city to make a commitment to the arts. But the Arts Board also exists to encourage development of artists and an appreciation of the performing and visual arts.
For me, it's an exciting experience because the diversity of things around the community that are being funded with young people and senior citizens and theater and dance and all of those things, they're all part of us. And if we keep our eyes open, we'll begin to see all of it, and it makes us part of what we are in our city.
Individual artists, art groups, and neighborhood organizations have an ally in city government. The Milwaukee Arts Board has joined the effort to preserve and expand our cultural resources so they remain a vital part of Milwaukee's livability for generations to come.